Welcome to Timeout with Coach Mike Miller. Coach Miller is the basketball coach with the most wins in LACC history, coaching his teams to a national record of 14 straight conference championships, breaking UCLA's old record of 13. Coach Miller is the first basketball coach in California basketball history to win a state championship at both the high school and college levels. Coach Miller has been honored as Coach of the Year 18 times and has produced almost 100 Division I players. For the next 2 hours, get ready for stats, facts, rants, and your opportunity to chat with one of the most successful basketball coaches in the entire country and his friends. Timeout with Coach Mike Miller.
Hey, welcome. Welcome back to our show, Timeout with Coach Miller. We are live. We are on the air. We are actually at Skidrow Studios, which is really not on Skid Row. It is
kind of in the jewelry district.
It's kind of jewelry district adjacent.
Yep. But there's lots of skid.
But it's not really Skid Row, is it?
No, but it's hairier than Iowa.
Oh, good point. Good point.
So we're Skid Row adjacent. We're Jewelry Mart adjacent.
We're Pershing Square adjacent.
Yeah, we're very adjacent to a lot of things.
Kind of almost adjacent to the whole Staples Figueroa Entertainment Center.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So anyway, I'm happy to be here, and I'm not gonna cry tonight. I'm really not gonna cry tonight. Our team played tonight. I'm really not gonna cry tonight.
DJ here.
Our team, Los Angeles College Prep, played tonight. We lost by 7 to a team, Future Prep, down in Carson, in a very poorly officiated game.
San Diego refs?
No, way worse. They walk in, and I really
the refs or the team?
No, the refs. They walk into the gym about 2 minutes before tip-off. One of them has got his referee's shirt untucked.
Nice.
Throughout the whole game?
Yeah, throughout the whole game. And it was just so embarrassing. These guys probably weren't even CIF refs. They look like Park League refs. And I have to tell you, I need to introduce all you guys, but it's on my mind, and it's just, and I mean, did we play great? No. But it was, Scott, when I was gone one night, you had Samson Brew in here too, as a guest. And Chris, you remember Samson, and
right.
I don't think Eric has met Samson yet. But the thing is that when we have a home game, which is rare, we call a real official, a college official, who assigns the game to other real officials, and they come in and they work. And every time we go to this place to play any kind of tournament, we either A, have the same officials every single time, okay, or B, we have new officials like tonight that are totally incompetent. And, it's just, to be honest, it's an embarrassment for everybody involved, and it's an insult to the game itself. And to all the student athletes that are involved and the parents. It's just insulting. So I don't know. I'm really, is there anything I can do about it? No.
Coach, I've known you for, what's this, going on 25 years? And I could tell when you got something on your mind. And I could tell that's been bugging you because I've been here for about the last 40 minutes and you're not here. You're here, but you're not here.
It's just a shame that somebody could do something like that and think it's okay and just bring in, just officials that shouldn't even be officiating at that level. Both teams are pretty good teams, and anyway, it makes me sick is what it does. It's disgusting. But I'm kind of, my mind is still in that gym in Carson at Future College Prep, and what a pathetically officiated game.
Will you guys have another match with them again this year?
Yeah, we play them one more time, but it kind of takes all the fun out of the game when it's just so It's so it's not just what you call, it's what you don't call. I can do a lot if I want to fudge and cheat as an official. It's not just what you call for one team, it's what you don't call for the other team. And that's what happened tonight. And but again, you got to be stronger than your excuses. Power moves only, Chris. And I didn't make those excuses to the players, Eric. I don't believe in doing that. And I didn't get a technical foul. I sure wanted one.
Yeah.
And
I was wondering if you got one.
No, they sure wanted to give me one, but I made a conscious decision that I wasn't bigger than the game. And I wasn't bigger than the players or more important than the players. I wasn't going to let my ego get in the way and hurt the players' opportunity for having success because I wanted to get my say in. But when I asked the guy a simple question, it's a dead ball, and he puts his whistle in his mouth and looks at me and stares at me like he wants to fight, that's a signal that he's about to give me a T.
Yeah.
So I was, okay. But that's how bad officials operate.
Yeah.
When you're incompetent, that's what you do. You're bad and you deal with it that way. So anyway, Chris, maybe I'll get off my soapbox a little bit here now and
hey, you got to get it off, so you might as well just get it off now. That way you can just go on about the rest of your night.
There you go. Well, welcome to Time Out with Coach Miller. We're glad to be back. We are now one night a week. We are Friday nights instead of Tuesday and Friday nights. We did, starting in January, we did 3 months of sort of a test run, and it was Tuesday and Friday night. It was good. We enjoyed it, but we learned that we learned a lot, I think, Scott.
Yeah.
But we're now in this segment here where we're one night a week, which is fine. We're Friday nights, 10 to midnight still.
Yeah, 4 hours is a lot of high school, junior college prep, for a week.
It's a lot of airtime to fill, and it's a lot of. I think what we found was, sometimes, we
less is more.
Yeah, less is more. Good one. I'm going to go with what Chris said. So, let me introduce the team tonight. Again, I'm happy to be back in studio. I've got Andy Jackson over here, who I think his real name is Andrew, actually, like the president. But isn't Andrew Jackson on a $20 bill, Eric? I'm pretty sure.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think Andy Jackson over here is really Andrew Jackson. Are you really Andrew Jackson?
I am indeed.
Excellent. Andy Jackson over here is in the sound booth.
Andrew Jackson was the president with the coolest hair.
You're right.
Yeah.
And that can be seen on the $20 bill.
Yeah, he's got long hair, and it's not a wig. That's real hair.
Is that real hair?
Yeah, he's post-wig.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I assumed it was a wig, Scott.
Yeah, in fact, he might even be the first president that didn't wear a wig.
Really?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, Jefferson and, well, no. I don't think Monroe wore a wig. He probably did at one point. Yeah. And the weird thing is that the Whigs, the party, started in opposition of Jackson.
That's a good fact.
Yeah.
Because he didn't wear a wig?
Perhaps.
Is that why they were called the Whigs?
Or it might be because he was kind of a dick. Killed a lot of Indians, Native Americans.
Yeah, he was kind of a dick, wasn't he?
Yeah. But great hair. Yeah.
You can't take that away from someone.
Yeah.
I mean, you may not like their politics, but if he has great hair, he has great hair.
Yeah, you can't take that away.
Lincoln had some good hair.
Lincoln had a good beard too.
Better
he was
chops.
He was like prototype hipster, kind of
for his age.
Yeah,
nice
for the era.
That's the thing is you can't take certain things away from people if they're true, just because you don't like their politics.
Yeah,
So you don't like Obama, fine, but he still has the best jump shot for any seated president that's ever been in the White House.
That dude had mad charisma. I saw him at Universal Amphitheater when they were during the primaries. He was in third place, I think, at that point. Where it was really like maybe Hillary and maybe John Edwards was like number 2, and then Barack Obama was in kind of the bunch of the other ones, and I got invited. So I went up there with my camera, and one of the weird things was I really got through with like a total minimum of security and got close enough to take great photos of him without like a zoom lens or anything, and still got real close up to him. And I watched him, come out, and the crowd was just freaking out like it was Bono or like a Beatles reunion or something. And I was like, wow, this guy, he could make it, all the way just based on his charisma.
He's a rock star.
Yeah.
I mean, I was about to say before you said he was like Bono or, the Shrieking. He's a rock star. You can like his politics or don't like his politics. I mean, I voted for him, but I mean, I have to say that I'm not happy with the job he's doing, and particularly in his second term. I don't think he's done as good a job as I would like, or probably most of his supporters would like. I mean, he's lost a lot of support, even among liberals and Democrats.
But that happens with lame duck presidents anyway in general. You're not going to be able to, it's not like he won on this overwhelming majority. He won because the other guy was horrible. We had no, or the Democrats had no control of the House, so they knew it would be a gridlock all the way. And then maybe at the end he makes pot legal or something and leaves office.
Right. Well, that would be a nice way for you, Scott.
It's legal for me already.
I know, but
I got my
But
ID
if he made it
and
legal,
my card.
if he made it legal federally, that would be a nice present for you and like Bill Maher on the way out.
But then nobody would have a reason to check my blog out, since I've had over 1,000 views of just one essay on bringing marijuana on a bus. I've had like 1,000 views in 2 months. Maybe less.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. Well, so if they legalize it, there goes half my readership.
Well, okay. Well, I wouldn't be that negative, but
the doctor where I went and got my license this week, 'cause I became a Mass resident last Friday or 2 Fridays ago, and the first thing I did was I went to the marijuana doctor, got my license, and the doctor there, I was going, yeah, they just passed recreational use in Colorado now. And he says, oh, I hope they don't do that here. That would destroy my business.
Yeah, good point. You see.
And then he asked
politics.
And then he asked me for, because he somehow it came out that I was like doing sports radio or maybe my sports editing. And he asked me for which teams to pick in the bowl games for gambling.
Oh, well, that sounds like my kind of doctor.
Yeah.
He gives out marijuana passes and he bets on college football games.
And the
great combination.
Cheapest prices in town.
Oh, how much did the license cost, Scott?
I think it was like $35 for a year.
Wow, so you pay the doctor, he gets $35?
Yeah, and I've already gotten more than that in free weed. So, medicine.
Keep it politically correct.
Yeah.
Right. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When you go to the doctor, is he a real doctor, by the way?
Yeah, I think he is a real doctor.
Okay.
I didn't check it. I didn't look. I should have looked to see where the diploma was from.
Right.
USC.
Right. Well, there you go.
It would probably be a junior college.
Chris, that's what Trojans do when they grow up, right?
Yeah, sell medicinal marijuana.
The diploma said LA City College.
Wow, that's funny.
LA City College School of Medicine.
Yeah, that's funny. Now, let me ask you this, Scott. What ailment did you have, let's say?
Oh, I have arthritis in my knuckles.
Oh, wow. Can you imagine that, Eric? Arthritis in your... So that qualifies you for medical marijuana?
Yeah. And...
it's like carpal tunnel.
My knuckles hurt right now. But that's because I'm on the air right now, so, but then as soon as I get off, they'll feel better.
Oh, I see your point. Yeah, I'm starting to get that. What can I say? So,
California.
What if your hair hurts? Speaking of hair, Andrew Jackson's hair, would that qualify you?
If Andrew Jackson's hair hurt, he would probably have been scalped because he was probably more hated by the Native Americans than any, human ever.
Wow.
Like more than Custer.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He was responsible for the Trail of Tears.
Oh, okay.
March, yeah. Forced out the tribes to the southwest.
Okay, well, I guess they won't be having any statues of Andrew Jackson on the Indian reservation that I...
You might not want to bring that up at Tono-Otham.
Yeah, we played at Tono-Otham, and, I don't know if I told you, it was pretty amazing. There was the U.S. Border Patrol at the line between the outskirts of Tucson and the Indian reservation, because it's actually a different nation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually not U.S. soil.
Right.
I mean, it's like, and I didn't understand that, about these, the Indian casinos in California and such in Arizona. What I didn't know, and then someone told me, and it made sense. He said, when you go to like Morongo, casino here in California, you're not in California.
Yeah.
He said, when you step on that land,
You're on their land.
you're on there. You're actually, he said, that's why they can have a casino. You're not in California.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cigarettes you don't have to pay taxes
Taxation.
on.
Is that right?
It's different
Yeah.
taxation. My first exposure to that came in Florida with the Seminoles.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty much every tribe that has a casino like that or whatever, their reservations are their reservation. They gave that land back to them.
Yeah.
So it's like you're on sovereign land. You're not in the United States anymore. It's just like if we have a embassy in another country, you're on
U.S. soil.
You're on U.S. soil.
Okay.
So that's just the same thing as their reservations. You're on their reservation.
Nice. I did not know that, and that's kind of cool. Now that I do know that, now that I've been enlightened. So where we're at tonight is we're here in studio. I already introduced our sound booth man, Andrew Jackson.
Yep.
I call him Andy. To my left is Scott Schultz, my esteemed partner in crime and special guest co-host.
Thank you. Nice to be back.
It's nice to have you back. It's
Thank
nice
you.
for me to be back. I think you did the last show without me.
Was that the last show?
Show before last.
Yeah, that was 2 shows back.
I wasn't here last week, so I don't even know if we were on last week.
Yeah, we
That was
were.
right after
That was
New
Jim
Year's.
Clemens.
We had Jim Clemens on,
Wow.
and
Yeah, I had to work that night.
we had Jim Clemens on as our guest and stuff, and then I think we had somebody else. But was that the last show, Scott?
That was the last show, yeah.
Okay,
So the show before that, you weren't here. Just me and Scott were here.
that's right.
The Friday after Christmas.
Was that when we were on the road? Probably then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At Tono.
And now I've
Otham.
been racing around, juggling day job and dog walking.
Nice.
And get a big show on Sunday.
Where at? Let's give it a plug.
Avenue 50 Gallery, Bluebird readings. I'm going to be telling a new story, one note. It's a 20-minute piece. And I'm going to be playing one sustained note for 20 minutes. That I told you about it, about a month ago when it happened, when I went to the show and, someone asked me to hold a note and I ended up holding it for 2 hours outside the venue. So it'll be interesting. I haven't practiced with the organ,
Right.
And the hard part will be actually like staying in one spot, while performing. 'Cause usually I'm a little bit more physical, animated.
Right.
So it'll kind of involve restraint and finding different ways to, keep it, the energy up. And at the same time, some people might get entranced or hypnotized because it's one note. And that's what happens. And it'll be weird because it's like a poetry room and it's going to be a big crowd. And a lot of people are really excited because the avant-garde classical composition, which is actually just one note, but technically it's a classical composition, which is kind of cool, which makes me a, classical musician. Performer.
This sounds like something that you'd appreciate more if you were on Scott's Medicine.
Yeah. I should
What
get
if I
I
had
should
one
get,
musical note?
I should get a powder wig and wear it since I'm going to be doing classical.
Yeah. Why don't you just take your hairstyle like Andrew Jackson
Yep, it's getting there.
on the $20 bill and then dye it white?
Yeah, I was thinking that. Well, it's getting Andrew Jackson-like, because
Right.
I got that thick head of hair too, and I'm growing it out, for the next year or so. And thanks for noticing the mustache, by the way.
Is that a mustache?
A hint of one.
Technically,
A hint.
it's open space. There's a separation of growth between the rest of the face and the mustache spot. So yeah, it's a mustache.
Okay, well,
Technically,
enough about this. Scott, before we move on and introduce the rest of our team tonight, the blog that you do on Greyhound
yes,
is The Long Ride.
it's actually Long Ride.
Oh, it's not the.
Yeah,
It's
there's no the.
long with 4 O's.
4 O's. Yes.
Long Ride.
Long Ride.
Long Ride.
LOOOONGRIDE. Ride. Oh, wait, no. Yeah. .com.
Right. Long Ride with 4 O's, Eric.com.
Did you come up with a theme song for that yet?
Yeah, I do have a theme song. My theme song was finished before Coach Miller's theme song, and Coach Miller had a 2-verse head start.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. And Chris, it's a sore point for Chris that you bring that up because we still don't have the final verse of our theme song. And Chris, I'm not going to even go there with you because, little Kevin's just not going to do it.
Well, he's MIA. I don't know if he's sleeping with the fishes or not, but we just haven't seen little Kevin for about 3 months now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So that's why I'm so fucking angry, because I don't have any friends.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
That's what I thought. So I just, I thought I'd throw that in there. Anyway, Chris Maxwell, my favorite former power forward. He used to be a powerful power forward, holding down the boards and dominating the paint for our state championship team at Rebay Academy. Chris, that was a fun 2 years we had back then.
Yeah, it was definitely memorable. We talk about it all. Some of the former players that I still keep in contact with, we talk about it all the time. So it was definitely a roller coaster ride for a while, but it was definitely a learning experience for me in my life.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed coaching you. And we had a great 58-5 in 2 years, 2 CIF titles, a state title. What a great run! Great memories.
Yeah.
And I just
and we still have people to this day that come and ask when I tell them I went to Rebay, and they ask me if I was part of that state championship team because they remember, whether or not we were in the paper or however it was that they remember our games that they, people still remember to this day. And it's been 21 years now, 22 years.
I think it's been more than
23 years.
I think it's been more than 21 or 22 years.
23 years.
And
it's 2014.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's been a long time, but it was a great run and we had a great time. And I'm proud to say I'm still in contact, Scott, with a lot of those players, including Chris from that team in that day. Across from me is Eric Grace, and Gerace.
Got it.
Grace.
Gerace, soft G.
Gerace, soft G. Kind of French, I guess.
It's Italian, but
Italian. Who cares, right?
it's Gerace
Oh, really?
in Italian.
So it's soft G, not
Soft G.
Grace, Gerace.
Yeah.
But it's a nicer with that soft G, actually. Eric is helping us out. He's doing a blog on the Clippers. We had him in once before for a short time. I invited him to come back and hang out, talk a little bit of Clipper basketball with us. And before we get into any of that, though, we have a call. And caller, you're on the air.
Hey there, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. Thank you for calling in. Time Out with Coach Miller. And by the way, you must be a follower of our show because I haven't even given out our phone number yet. Our phone number is 1-800-893-9562. That number again is 1-800-893-9562 if you want to call in, you have a question. And you have a question.
I'm a follower of the show, and I've really taken kind of an interest in Scott's long ride.
Okay, what do you got? What's your interest?
Well, I want to talk to Scott about the long ride. I used to ride Greyhounds back in the 70s after I got out of the Marine Corps, and I got some interesting stories to tell him.
Oh, yeah? Where'd you go?
I'm from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, and I used to travel. I was at Camp Lejeune, and when I'd go home, I'd go, take the bus back in those days because, couldn't afford much.
Sure.
And, following your blog there, you had some interesting stories, but I got a story that I wanted to share with you.
Okay.
There used to be, there was an old-time bus station. It was somewhere, I believe it was in Illinois.
Okay.
And when I was waiting for a bus, there was a long wait because I believe there was some trouble with the bus that was on the way.
Sure.
Anyway, long story short, I met this lady there, and she was a driver, a long-distance Greyhound driver.
Okay.
Struck up a conversation, and met her a couple months later taking the bus again. And, we started having an affair. And
nice.
I would ride on the bus with her.
Free rides.
What to say?
Free rides.
Pardon?
Did you get free rides?
I got free rides, and this is the great part.
What kind of rides?
Well, here's where we're going with this. When I would ride with her, and she would have her layovers, for her lunch break, we would go in the commode in the back of the bus.
Oh, man, for real?
For real.
And a Greyhound?
A la Wilt.
And a Greyhound commode. And this was about 1973. And the summer of 73, I must have rode with her on and off the bus, if you get my point.
Yeah,
I
nice.
must have did that about 4 or 5 times that summer. I was just 23 years old.
For you people out there that have never been on the back of a Greyhound bus, those bathrooms are like freaking nasty. Like, you take like the worst Tijuana bar stall and then close it in and have it not clean for like 18 hours with like 60 people going 1,000 miles. That's this room where he's taking the bus driver and giving a lube job.
So Scott,
listen to this.
Hold on, caller, hold on. So Scott,
yeah,
when you have to go to the bathroom and you're on one of your cross country bus rides, you try to avoid going on the bathroom of the Greyhound bus.
Well, I'm a dude, so I don't care. If for a number one, but even then, once that door's closed, no one else sees. Like if you're peeing all over the place, so you just get your business done and get out of there.
So
keep it off your
you
shoes,
open that door, it probably must really stink, though, right?
Oh yeah, you can smell it for a couple rows.
Wow.
remember this. This was 1973.
Yeah.
Things were a little bit better kept back in those days.
Oh, were they?
They were more conscientious. Yeah, the buses. I haven't been on a Greyhound in years, but just looking at your blog, I think you put a picture of the bathroom up once.
Yeah, with the 4 Loco cans floating on the top.
And the toilet. But they were a little cleaner. But this was, I was a young guy in my 20s.
Yeah.
This gal was about 45.
Yeah.
She had a real raspy kind of voice.
Nice.
Smoked a lot of cigarettes. But it was, it was fun because, I was a young guy. I've been in the Marine Corps for 3 years, and it was quite a memory. Quite a memory.
That's funny.
It sounds like quite a memory. Now, did you stay in contact with the bus driver all this time, or?
No. The last time I saw her was probably about 1975 or 6. Don't know whatever happened to her. Her name was Mabel. I remember that she was.
That's a great bus driver name.
Mabel. Hey, I have an idea of what happened to Mabel. Did you hear that?
I heard that.
Did you hear the skidding and the car crash or the bus crash?
The bus crash.
Yeah.
Bus crash.
I have a feeling that's probably what happened to Mabel.
Yeah, maybe that's what happened to Mabel. But she's probably gone by now because she was in her 40s 40 years ago.
Oh, nice.
Very elderly. And I wouldn't even want to think about what she looks like now. But she was a good-looking lady.
Wait, you mean you're not excited?
No, I'm not excited at this point. But it was fun, and that's my little experience with the buses back some time ago.
That's great.
Caller, what's your name?
My name is Ruben.
Okay, you told that story, which is good. Now, do you have a basketball question?
No, I don't really believe I do. Well, how about this? How about the Clippers tonight? They're kicking the Lakers up and down the court.
Oh, that's easy though.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Well, what's your question about? And we'll ask Eric.
Where has this been in the Clippers all these years, year after year? They've been this redheaded stepchild, and now look at them. Now they're dominating LA basketball.
Well, okay, that's a. I mean,
they're playing a team that's missing half of their team. So I mean, okay, you want to brag about that?
That's more.
Did Sterling pull his head out of his butt finally?
I mean, I think you're making more of a statement than you are a question.
I think that a couple of great first-round picks that panned out for them, and Blake Edwards, that really just fell in his lap, and when the commissioner overruled the Paul trade to the Lakers, and gave him to the Clippers. Which was really just a steal of a bargain. That really laid things out, where other players would want to be there. And they had a surplus of high draft picks. And, so because they were able to get a big star in there, that really, made things a lot easier for them because they never had a star before. Like even when they get Danny Manning with the first pick, he blew his knee out. And
point well taken.
Yeah.
Right. And then the Lakers, ever since the passing of Dr. Buss, they've been all over the board with their family troubles and the schism of running the team. And there's a lot of inner turmoil there, I think, which I think drips down onto the team itself.
Yeah, well, you don't want to get me started on that. I mean, Chris is going to be a Laker apologist till the day he dies, but
they're missing half their team.
But I spent a year there.
But the part they're missing isn't that good.
I spent a year there, Phil Jackson's last year, and with Jim Clemens, who was our guest last week, and I'll tell you what, the organization is. I have to be careful what I say, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Well, it's obvious even from, the living room. I mean, the fact that they didn't bring Phil Jackson back and went with Mike D'Antoni, that was a horrible choice. And then, they couldn't manage to hold on to Dwight Howard, which means that they have no leadership at the top.
He's not a leader, though.
No, I mean, leadership as in, like, the coach and the general manager knowing that they had a potential, team leader, star player.
He's not a team leader, though.
He is a star player.
No, he's not even a star player.
Then why did they even bother trying to sign him for big money?
He is not a leader.
But the fact is, he was
supposed to be a leader, but he's
brought
not.
in, and if he could have been signed to a max contract by the Lakers, they would have done it on the spot, and he turned them down. He rejected them, and that's because the leadership of the Lakers didn't get the job done. They couldn't sell him on a whole year there. If Jerry West and Jerry Buss and Phil Jackson were there, Dwight Howard would still be there, and he'd be productive.
Well,
that's pretty bold. That's the first time I've ever seen you laugh, Chris.
That was a funny comment that you just made.
Well,
I was like, I've never heard that laugh before.
Here's funny for you. Tonight's Clipper-Laker game, we're going to get to Eric here on this in a couple minutes, is that
by the way, thank you for the Greyhound question. That was a great story.
That was a great story, and you're still with us, caller? No, I think he's gone, Scott.
Yeah, I could hear that. There was like another phone missing.
Okay, now I've been interrupted about 6 times tonight, and it is my show now. So let me. It is called Timeout with Coach Miller. So let me talk. First quarter, Lakers 25 points. Not bad. Not a bad effort. You're on pace for a 100-point game. Clippers 43.
Oh, they've given up over 100 points, like 10 out of 12 games.
Okay. Second quarter, high score, 27-27.
Yeah.
Third quarter, Lakers get 8. Clippers get 31. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
The Lakers are 6-13 at home. No, not at home. They're 6-13 away from home this year.
Yeah.
The Clippers are 17-3 at home. Of course, they're both playing on their home court.
Sure.
But just embarrassing. I feel bad for the Laker fans. I don't know these players. None of them were really there when I was there for the most part.
I hope we lose 20 more.
Well, you
I
will.
want to get because I want to get into the
will.
lottery. Yeah. They will.
You will get.
I want them to get into the lottery.
Yeah,
so
you'll lose 20 more. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
but
you're
as
in
bad
the
as the
West.
Lakers are playing, we're still a game above Boston.
Oh my.
We lost by
but
2 tonight.
But
that's funny.
Boston's moving forward though.
Yeah. Okay. You keep trying to convince yourself of that.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather have
okay.
Stevens and D'Antoni
Exactly.
any day.
Well, listen, we're going to have our first guest tonight is going to be a call-in guest, someone we've had on before, and I'm bringing him on special tonight to talk about the his recent trip back east for the Heisman Trophy event and ceremony. And if you guys remember, we had Coach Ernest Baskerville on, who is he does the John Wooden Award.
Yep.
Okay. And he's with the John Wooden Award, and he is one of the main guys there. What do you want to say?
Oh, no. I was waiting for you to finish, but I think we might have seen the College Player of the Year the other night in the UCLA-Arizona game.
You do? Okay, well, you can ask Ernest that, and I've got Ernest on the air, I believe. Ernest, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great.
Coach Baskerville.
Welcome back.
How you doing, man?
Welcome back to Time Out with Coach Miller. We enjoyed having you in the studio a month or so ago, and it's exciting to have you back. I told you at the time that I wanted to get you back on and talk about the Heisman Trophy because you went as the representative from the John Wooden Award to go to New York, right, Ernest, for the Heisman Trophy ceremony?
Yes. Wendy's restaurants, they are primary sponsor.
That's right.
With the award. And they do a version, they do what called a high school Heisman that happens on Friday. We have the Heisman announcement on Saturday, and then they have a couple of other things Sunday and Monday. But Friday, Wendy's is the huge sponsor of the high school Heisman, so I was invited for that, and also invited for the Heisman that's sponsored by Aflac and by Wendy's and by Kellogg's. So it was a great experience. It just was cold, man. I mean, being an LA guy, getting out there, and it was 26 degrees and snowing. And
Yeah, I hate that.
But moreover, I want to give you a plug for the John Wooden Award. Wendy's is a sponsor of the John Wooden Award, not just the high school Heisman, correct?
Yeah, they're our presenting sponsor for the John R. Wooden Award.
And so I like to give Wendy's a plug, and I want to tell you again, Scott, that I eat at Wendy's all the time.
Yep.
Because any company or organization that sponsors something as important and as valuable as the John Wooden Award deserves to get extra plugs. And so we're going to give Wendy's an extra plug tonight. And they are, to me, the best fast food out there. No question, the healthiest and the best. You go to a lot of these fast food places and it's hard to order something healthy, and I'm into that. And I can go to Wendy's and I can order a lot of things that are healthy and that I can feel good about eating. And Wendy's is just a great, great restaurant. If you go to fast food like I do, you're between a game, Scott, or hustling to a practice, or I'm going to recruit. I was out at a tournament earlier in the week and ran into Ernest there, and went from our practice to recruit. Sometimes you have to stop and do fast food. If you're going to do that, Wendy's is the best one. So anyway, that's your plug for your sponsor, Ernest. Was that good enough?
Appreciate it. Much love. Really appreciate it, Coach.
Okay,
we might have to let you do a commercial or something.
There you go. Well, I do good commercials, by the way. So, hey, tell us about, we want to hear all about the not the John R. Wooden Award. We want to hear about that after the Heisman Trophy, because Chris has some questions for you about the John R. Wooden Award and the players that he's been watching. But before we get to that, I want to focus on the Heisman and how that was. I want to hear all about it. Can you hold on, Ernest? Can you hold on for a couple minutes?
Yeah.
We haven't had a commercial break yet. We're going to it's going to be a quick one. It won't be a long one. We're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to come right back, and we're going to talk to you about the Heisman ceremony. Let's go to break, Andy. This is Coach Miller from Time Out with Coach Miller. I'm here excited to tell you about Medicus Graphics Center located in Los Angeles, California. Medicus is the official printer and graphic designer of Time Out with Coach Miller. Medicus does a tremendous job for any printing need from big to small, whether you want to print a book or a 4-color poster or business cards. Go see my friends at Medicus Graphics Center in Los Angeles, California, located at 2030 Hyperion Avenue. Tell them Coach Miller sent you. Medicus will take care of you like they've taken care of me.
16 made a dream with this basketball. Coach Miller on the court and we going hard. Pass the rock to the paint. I give him my all or be like Chris Paul. Shoot the 3-point, y'all. Look, it's Time Out with Coach Miller. 14 straight conference championships. We winners. It don't stop from the bottom to the ceiling. Cause all I know is win and we winning. Full focus, we got a topic to discuss. High school, prep school, small colleges, yup. Another special guest today, listen up. It might get a little hectic from the stuff we discuss.
Hey, it's Coach Miller. You're listening to my show, Time Out with Coach Miller. I want to talk to you today about my favorite car dealership located in beautiful Hollywood, California. It's called Gem Motors. Gem Motors is located at 5639 West Sunset Boulevard. If you want a high-end automobile that's at a great price, whether it's a BMW, a Mercedes, a Jaguar, or a Porsche, go to my friends at Gem Motors. They have a beautiful indoor dealership located at 5639 West Sunset Boulevard, right across from Home Depot. Go see my friends at Gem Motors. Tell them Coach Miller sent you and get a special discount. The phone number is area code 323-962-9696. 323-962-9696.
Look, it's Time Out with Coach Miller. 14 straight conference championships. We winners. It don't stop from the bottom to the ceiling. Cause all I know is win and we winning. Full focus, we got a topic to discuss. High school, prep school, small colleges, yup. Another special guest today, listen up. It might get a little hectic from the stuff we discuss.
They went through like.
Hey, we're back. We're live. Welcome back to Time Out with Coach Miller. Ernest Baskerville, the coach, the head basketball coach at LaSalle High School in, I think it's Sierra Madre, right, Ernest?
We're in Pasadena, northeast Pasadena. It's right across the street from Sierra Madre.
Sierra Madre adjacent.
Yeah.
It's Sierra Madre adjacent. Now, the John R. Wooden Award is an award that is put on by the downtown Los Angeles Athletic Club, correct?
Yes.
And you are located right across the street from our studio.
Your Skidrow Studios adjacent.
So you are actually Skidrow Studios adjacent.
Yes, we are. And you're Los Angeles Athletic Club adjacent.
That's right.
That sounds better.
That sounds a little better and more prestigious. And we're both in downtown LA. And, Ernest, it's great to have you on the show. Tell us about your trip to New York and what it was like to be there live at the Heisman Trophy Awards ceremony. Tell us about it, Andy.
Well, what was great was getting a chance to see a lot of the players that I watched play over the years. The biggest thing for me was meeting Barry Sanders.
Oh, wow.
I thought Barry Sanders was probably, at my generation, the best running back I'd seen. I mean, I loved Eric Dickerson. I would say between him and Eric Dickerson, I wasn't around for Simpson or a lot of these other guys. But
yeah.
I was around, but I really didn't watch the game then. Like I watched it with Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
I grew up an Eric Dickerson fan, but I wasn't a Heisman winner. But
on the Express,
meeting Barry Sanders, get a chance to take a picture with him. Herschel Walker.
Wow.
Why can't I read it on the screen?
Desmond Howard.
Herschel Walker looked like he could still play.
Oh my gosh! I'm sorry. I said Herschel Walker. Tony Dorsett. I said Herschel Walker. Tony Dorsett. I meant Tony Dorsett. I think about Herschel because somebody was mentioning him when we were there. Tony Dorsett. The person that looks like he can still play is Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders looks great.
Wow. Well,
he looks like he's still cut. I mean, he's lean. I said, man, can you still play? So I just try to keep myself in shape.
Yeah, he never had the big injuries.
Never did. He never had the big injuries. He was able to walk away from the game on his own.
No one could ever catch him.
Exactly. I mean, but then Desmond Howard was there working and, being there as a former winner. And I was fortunate enough, though, the fact that because of the Wooden Award, I have a great relationship with the Heisman. They, invited me out personally. I was able to do a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. So in the hospitality suite, I got a chance to take a picture with the winner as well as the just past winner. So I have a picture with Jameis Winston and Manziel, all three of them together, holding the trophy. So it's really great. I got personal pictures with the trophy, and it's just it was a great experience to get there and see how they're all there.
Sure.
When I came into the studio, I talked about recreating that fraternity aspect and energy for the John Wooden Award, like they have for the Heisman.
Yeah.
Those guys come back. And, Mike Rozier, got a chance to meet him, talk to him. He's hilarious. I mean, he should be a comedian. He's so funny. Billy Sims, a lot of the older guys.
Was Archie Griffin there?
Archie Griffin was there. Archie Griffin's the only two-time winner. He was there. He's also the chairman for the high school Heisman.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
He's a great guy. All those guys are great people. I mean, Steve Spurrier was there. I didn't know Spurrier had won the Heisman.
Yep, I knew that.
He's the only person to win it and coach someone that has won the Heisman. Because he coached, I think it was Danny Warfel. I think he had done, was Danny Warfel? Not Danny Warfel. Warfel was at Florida State. Whoever had at Florida, that was Gino Toretta.
Was it Warfel?
No, he didn't coach Gino Toretta. Toretta went to Miami. It was Danny Warfel.
It was the other way. It was Warfel. Okay, all right.
What did you take out of your visit to the Heisman ceremony that you're now going to be able to apply towards the Wooden Award? Like, any elements?
I loved, like I said, I loved the whole aspect of bringing everyone back. But the hardest thing for us is when they're coming back now, most of their guys are either retired or not currently playing.
Yeah.
If you look at it this way, our team, so they honor the 10-year winner, the 20-year winner, 25-year winner, and the 50-year winner. Mm-hmm. Right now, we're still doing 25, 20, and 10.
Yeah.
Our 25-year winner this year is going to be Sean Elliott. So I'm working on getting Sean Elliott out to our award. Our 20-year winner is Glenn Robinson. So he'll be back.
Yep.
And the 10-year winner, I went and talked to the other night. He's still playing, which is Jameer Nelson. They played here on Monday against the Clippers, and I went and met with Victor Oladipo, who was one of our finalists last year. Hung out with Victor after the game and spoke to Jameer Nelson. He's like, man, I think we're going to be playing that night. But my thing is I'm going to try to get someone to come out and represent him, take it on his behalf.
Yeah, right.
So, just the whole, their whole idea, the guys treat it like a fraternity. And when I talked to this summer, I met with Evan Turner. He was out here during the summer for Drew Holiday's wedding. So while he was here, he worked out at the club. And one thing he talked about, he said, man, I just really want it to feel like they do with the Heisman. All those guys look at it as a fraternity. And I'm trying to build that camaraderie amongst the guys of being proud of being the person that won the Wooden Award.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Ernest, and that's really good strategy on your part. I'm not surprised because you are a coach, but there does seem to be, Scott, more camaraderie among the Heisman Trophy winners. You even see them doing commercials together for Nissan and stuff.
That's also probably because they play the same positions. They're basically all quarterbacks, wide receiver, kick returners, and running backs.
Okay, that's fair.
Where in basketball, it's basically the best player.
In basketball, they play the same positions too: guard, forward, or center. So, but the point is that the point is that I think that Ernest is onto something here. That the Heisman Trophy seems to be that the winners seem to be a tighter knit group. They seem to have more camaraderie, and I think he's trying to create more of a sense of that, more of a sense of family.
Sure.
With the John R. Wooden Award winners, and that's a really smart play in my book.
Yeah, and I think also it has to do with maybe that football element of things, how football players have that band of, hey, it's us against them. We're out there fighting the world. We're going to battle. They almost look at it like a little army unit because they go to battle together.
Right.
Maybe that's why they kind of accept each other in a certain way, too. Basketball is something you can go and you can play with anybody. People you don't even know. You just pick them up off the street, hey, man, let's run. Let's get these 5 together. Let's run.
Yeah.
Football, they don't get that, hey, let's play a football game tomorrow. They don't do that. Mm-hmm. So you usually used to being around together so much, you treat each other like brothers anyway. So I think that's why they kind of have that leg up on a basketball situation. They also have an award for lacrosse. I mean, there's different awards. I met the guy that runs the college version of the lacrosse award. It's called the Tourton Award. And then at the Washington Downtown Athletic Club, Washington, D.C. So, it's, everyone has their own unique spin on things. I think we do a great job of getting top-rate talent to do the award. We have Jay Billups, who's been amazing. Jay's actually going to be doing some internet commercials and little vignettes about the award, which is going to be great. You guys will start seeing those very soon. They'll be on the Wendy's website as well as our website. When those come out, I'll definitely let you guys know so you guys can put a link on your site. But it's going to be some really fun stuff that we're doing. Like this past year, like I said, we had Jay Billups and Jay Billups and other different people from ESPN on our show, which was great.
Ernest, what's the number one thrill that you just experienced at the Heisman weekend? Tell me what the number one thrill. I know there's a lot of them, and I saw some of those pictures you're talking about earlier with you and the last two winners and the trophy. You showed me some of those neat pictures. What's the number one thrill that you took from that?
I still think it's just the whole meeting Barry Sanders and just getting a chance to meet and see players that I've watched on TV for years when I was a kid. I mean, that's the exciting part of just being there. I mean, I'm not a New York City guy. Like some people say, oh, I'm in New York. They're excited. I'm an L.A. guy. I love L.A. I love the pace of our city. I love the weather. But being in that room and seeing the pictures of all the former winners on the wall, it's just something different. It's just like, wow, this is so exciting. I mean, Coach, you have to come across my office and see that at my office we have all the pictures of the former winners on the wall in my office, as well as on John Wooden Court, our 6th floor at our facility. And it's kind of the same feeling like when I brought the players who were here last year, Trey Burke, Victor Oladipo, Otto Porter Jr., Kelly Olynyk. They looked at all those players that had won, and I know especially Trey said, man, I'm in an exclusive class. Michael Jordan's one, Larry Bird is one, Tim Duncan. We went through that list before last time. They were very excited about the team. But for me, as a fan of football, I was excited to see all those on the wall. And then, like I said, get a chance to meet and talk to Barry Sanders one-on-one was great.
I think that's really cool. Now, I'm going to turn it over to Chris because Chris has got some thoughts on the John R. Wooden Award, and obviously that's your main focus here, not the Heisman Trophy. But I just wanted to have you come and talk about, give us a report about that whole experience. But Chris has some definite thoughts on the John R. Wooden Award for this year. Chris, what do you got?
Well, I've been watching a lot of teams so far this college season, and the kid from Duke, the kid from Wiggins from Kansas, and Randall from Kentucky. You know, that's everybody's consensus. That's the ones everybody talk about. But I think there's two other players that are getting some mention, but not as much as the freshmen are, which is Marcus Smart and from Oklahoma State, and Aaron Gordon from Arizona. And I just saw Aaron Gordon play the other night against UCLA, and I mean, he was phenomenal. And I think he's better than the other three freshmen that everybody's talking about. And I wanted to get your take on it if you are allowed to comment on it.
Well, I'm not allowed to comment on who I like. But the game was pretty exciting. He had some nice dunks. I thought Nick Johnson, who was also on our top 50 list, I thought he had a great.
He played his butt off that night too.
There were two players on the other side that were on the top 50 list, which were Anderson for UCLA.
Right.
The other guard at UCLA, they did great. But talking about Marcus Smart. he was he was high on the list last year toward the end, and then just kind of phased out a little bit in regards to the votes. But the person who I can speak about this because he was a finalist last year in the Final Five is McDermott. So you might not want to discount him as well. He he's had a pretty decent season. I went to go see him in person. Now, I've actually seen a lot of them in person. I went to see him in person this past around Thanksgiving, actually, day after Thanksgiving. I saw him play Arizona State. Jahi Carson, who's on our top 50 list as well from Arizona State. They played each other. Both did very well. So that might be another name you might want to think about. If you go to our website, you can see how we've been keeping updated scoring. We update the scoring, other stats, scoring, rebounding, and assists for all the players that were on our preseason top 50 list. Our mid-season top 25 list will be coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, wow.
So our voters, the people that we have on our panel that vote, will vote who they feel the top 25 are.
Now, Ernest, who does vote? Are you allowed to tell us that?
I can't tell you the names, but there's sports writers and different people that follow college basketball very closely.
So how many voters are there?
We have over 700 voters.
Oh, wow. That's more than the Heisman Trophy voters, I believe.
That's more than the Baseball Hall of Fame. That's about the same amount as the Baseball Hall of Fame writers.
So you have over 700 voters, and how does the system work? Is it one vote per person, or is it like a staggered voting, like you vote somebody number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the points are spread out accordingly?
Well, it depends on what part of the time we're talking about. We're talking about like right now, the preseason and the mid-season. We just tell them, give us your top 50 or give us your top 25. And it's in no particular order. And if you have, we have to tally all the votes. So we got to list all the names, every individual name that's put there. And then as we keep getting the names, we'll keep putting a number by who got what vote.
Well, I was thinking about more like who wins the trophy. Like, how is it voted on?
At the end, it's all about who gets the most first place votes.
So only a first place vote counts then?
Well, all your votes have a certain number on it. Yeah. So
but that's my question.
Yeah.
That's my question. My question is, okay, I'm a voter, and I vote for Scott Schultz for the John R. Wooden Award.
Nice.
Okay? Now, am I only voting for Scott Schultz, or am I voting first, second, third, and Scott, I pick first, and he gets a certain number of points from me. Chris, I pick second, he gets a lesser number of points, and Eric, I pick third, and he gets a lesser number of points. I'm trying to ask you how, when the voter votes, how is he voting? Is it just one vote, or is he?
You know what? I'm not allowed to vote, so I've never seen the actual ballot. The ballot is done by a private company. We don't even know who wins until the end. I don't find out until we're about to make the announcement. So the actual ballot, I've never seen. I just know that when it gets down to that, how it's saying that we make that list, when we get down to that final 10, whoever's names come up in that final 5 and whoever's that final 1, that's when we announce that one, and the other 4 people considered part of the first team All-American, and the second 5 of that 10 are the second team All-American team for college basketball.
Interesting.
I can get more information from the company if you would like to know a little more, but that's probably the most, as they say in probably the most I'm at liberty to say.
Right. But I mean, I think that it would be good for you to find that out. I know our listeners would want to know. I'm sure you can tell us the structure of the voting. I mean, I don't see why somebody couldn't say, Eric, why you can't, is it just you vote for one person and that's it? And
well, then, there's also a ballot for the casual fan. The casual fan will be able to go to the website and Wooden Award Vote, and be able to .com and be able to vote for who they feel the winner should be. You don't have to vote for one person. You vote who you feel the winner should be. If that person gets the vote, they'll tally up all those votes. So that process will open in, I want to say, February. I want to say around February when fans can start voting on woodenawardvote.com.
Gotcha. Okay, so
I would verify that for you. I don't have my laptop near me where I have all my notes, but I know it's around February when we're going to start that.
Yeah, I see your point. Now, so going back to Chris's question, I guess you're not allowed to say who you like, but Chris made a statement that the Arizona freshman is the best of the four freshmen.
I think he is. This is probably about the third game I've seen him play. I saw him against UNLV, and I saw him against UCLA, and one or two other games I think I saw him play. So I saw him play about 3 or 4 times.
In that Michigan game?
Yeah, I think that might have been it, was the Michigan game. And, I mean, he's just, to me, I like the kid from Duke. His name escapes me right now. But, pardon me?
Jabari Parker.
But Wiggins, I think he needs a lot more seasoning. He needs another year in college, but he may come out. Randall might be the best one to me out of the three in the near future in terms of the NBA. But this kid, Aaron Gordon, I mean, he's just, 6'9", 6'10", and I mean, he needs to work on his shot a little bit, but to me, he has the complete game right now.
Let me ask you this. Do you think, one, I was going to say, and this is the exciting part, is us as casual fans, we get to discuss who we think the winner should be. And that's what, the whole voting process is all about, where everyone can have their opinion and they can vote and be excited. But my thing is, what do you think about the fact that maybe he had a great game as well, for the fact that his brother had played at UCLA and maybe left and he wants to come back and prove, hey, our family deserved to have been here and had a great game as well. I'm sure that was exciting for him on that part of it.
Right.
And his brother was part of the Ben Holland regime.
Right, Drew Gordon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he left and went to Mexico.
Right.
And played for Steve Alford.
Right. Yeah, good point. Good point. That's funny.
And I have a lot of respect for Marcus Smart, because I saw an interview with him at the beginning of the season. I remember watching him play last year, but I saw an interview with him, and they were breaking down his a lot of his freshman year compared to now. It was after a couple of tournament games at the beginning of the season, and I want to say it was either Jay Billis or Dick Vitale or somebody was asking him about his game now and why he didn't go to the NBA last year coming out as a freshman. And he just quite simply said, I couldn't shoot the ball. I needed to go back to school and work on my shot. And so after that, he just became my favorite player, because he knew he had a weakness and he wanted to come back to school to work on that weakness and then, get that better to get to the next level. And so right there, he just got my respect after that.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that wants to go and fine-tune their game and turn away millions of NBA dollars.
Right. And I think it's going to pay off for him in the long run, and he's going to end up making more. And I tell everybody when, like we've talked about earlier, I'm a diehard Laker fan, and I keep saying I want us to lose as many games as possible because I want the ping pong balls in the lottery. And so everybody's like, well, do you want Jabari Parker or Wiggins, Andrew Wiggins, or Joseph Randle? I'm like, no, I want Marcus Smart.
Yeah, I have to say, Chris, I think that Marcus Smart would be my vote for the John R. Wooden Award. I would vote for him. And just on the strength that he came back for an extra year of college, besides the fact he's, probably the best player, but nonetheless, I'm going to tell you what the NBA people think of these freshmen that Chris mentioned, Coach Baskerville. So the NBA people have Jabari Parker as the best of the freshmen.
Right.
And they've got Wiggins right after him from Kansas. And then they've got the Julius Randle guy. I'm just talking freshmen right now. Yeah. I'm not talking Marcus Smart or, anyone else, okay? Mm-hmm. They've got Aaron Gordon way down that list, actually. They have Tyler Ennis from Syracuse ahead of Andrew Gordon. They have Zach LaVine from UCLA ahead of Andrew Gordon.
That's crazy.
I'm talking NBA people. They have James Young of Kentucky ahead of Andrew Gordon. They have Noah Vonjo of Indiana ahead of Andrew Gordon. They've got Andrew Gordon way down the list. In fact, one of the best NBA projections that I've seen has Andrew Gordon going the 20th pick to the Celtics.
Oh, wow.
So maybe Scott will like that. Well, actually, Eric will like that too. We have 2 Celtic fans in here.
Yeah, I want to just see the Celtics in the first 5.
Okay. Now, but here's what's funny, you guys. Can any of you, not you, Scott, because you're seeing my board, Chris, Eric, or Coach Ernest Baskerville on the phone, can any of you name the freshman that's rated higher than all of those other freshmen I mentioned by the NBA people?
Including Jabari Parker and Randall?
Yes. Let me give Ernest a shot first. Ernest?
You would ask me first. You know what? I really don't know offhand.
Okay.
That's yes, over those 3. Would it be you said over Randall, Gordon, Parker,
and Wiggins. There's Gordon's rated like he's about the 8th or 9th best freshman, according to NBA people. Now, we've had this talk in here before, and I talked in detail about Gordon vis-a-vis being an NBA player. Now, Chris is right in the fact he's a dominant college player, but I don't think he's going to be a great NBA player because
he's going to have to find a position.
Yeah, he doesn't have a position. He's kind of a undersized power forward. But who's the college freshman that's by the NBA people rated higher than Parker, Wiggins, Randall, all of these guys?
Probably maybe Embiid.
There you go. You did it. Good job, Ernest. From Kansas, 7-footer.
Embiid from Kansas because he's 7 feet.
Right.
I have to think about which ones are the footers. Because everybody, you can't teach height.
Right. And they were talking about that. They were talking about him this morning on I was listening to the Dan Patrick show, and they were talking about him. It was either this morning or yesterday morning. They were talking about him because they were saying that Wiggins wasn't even the best freshman on his team.
Right. And that's again, I was talking about NBA, how the NBA looks at it. I'm not talking about John R. Wooden Award winner because Embiid is not going to win the John R. Wooden Award. I've got a news flash for you. He's not going to win the John R. Wooden Award, but he could be the number 1 pick in the draft. He's 7 feet tall, 250 pounds, and he's got a lot of ability.
I would not pass on a Wiggins or a Parker to take a 7-footer because it just seems like the 7-footers tend to break down quicker. And
well, he's not a true forward. He's more of a Dirk Nowitzki type.
Right. That's right.
So he's not of the type of like Andrew Bynum or Greg Odom. He's more the Dirk Nowitzki type where he can shoot because he can shoot. And so, he can get it. The one thing that translates from college to pro best is, can you create your own shot and can you get your shot off? And he can.
Right. Hey, Ernest, I have a question for you. Is it troubling to you at all? Because I kind of consider you, although you're younger than me, I kind of consider you a guy with old school values when it comes to basketball. And I think I know where Scott and Chris are going to stand on this, but I'm going to ask you, is it troubling to you in any way that when you probably look at the John R. Wooden Award candidates that most of them are freshmen and sophomores? Does that bother you in any way, just being a kind of a traditionalist like you are and kind of an old school, throwback coach? Does that bother you at all?
Well, this was the first year that our preseason list had freshmen listed on it. It's the first year ever in the history of the award. And, usually on the preseason list, we had nothing but, sophomores, juniors, seniors. During the midseason, freshmen could be admitted.
Right.
But this was the first year for the preseason. But so for me, though, in regards to seeing how the freshmen dominate, I think a lot of things, period, even like look at the NBA draft, the way teams draft. Teams draft now off potential. And that's what they do. They'll see a guy, he's 6'8", he can shoot it, he's long. He may not be, he may not be as strong yet, but potentially he could be great. I mean, look how many guys jumped when you were able to go out of high school. Look how many guys, heard things and read their own hype and went pro, and it didn't work out.
Right.
I mean, and so I think that as coaches, Coach, you've been coach forever, you're a great coach. You can see a guy evaluate his talent, especially within your system or what you want to do. You like to press trap. Sometimes you'll go out and get long guys and cover a lot of space on the floor. So guys they get to draft, they're looking to draft what they feel is what their needs are.
Right.
Teams that draft well, your San Antonio Spurs, people that draft and develop players. I mean, look what they've done with every draft pick they've had in the last 10 years. They've done a great job. Then you have teams that draft off the name of the player.
Right.
I'm going to go get this guy because, everyone says he's going to be great, and they may or may not pan out to be what everybody thinks they are. But I just really feel that if a freshman is ready, I'm just thinking in draft status. I'm not in the award because it'll be too much of a gray area if I speak about the award and freshmen. But in regards to drafting, I would want to draft someone I think that's ready. If my team has super needs, I'm going to fill the holes. If I'm like later on in the draft, 27, 28, like Spurs, I can get a guy that, he can come and sit behind. I can go give me a power forward that may need 2 more years. He could sit there. Duncan has another at least 2 years of being Tim Duncan. I can sit him behind him, and then he'd be ready, for the league in 2 years. He may play sparingly over the next 2 years, but he needs to be our starter in 2 years. Some teams don't have that luxury. I mean, I love Michael Jordan, but I don't think they've drafted great in the last few years.
Ever.
I mean, Scott's going to say ever, but
he might be the worst drafter in the history of the sport.
Yeah, he's pretty bad, Ernest, when it comes to drafting players, and their organization
free throws better than Jordan picks.
Their organization kind of sucks. They hire coaches, they fire them mid-season. He brought Leonard Hamilton from University of Miami. Mm-hmm. He's there. I mean, you hire a college coach. I mean, okay. I mean, it's the NBA. I mean, you're going to give him a little time to figure it out, or why even hire him? He fires
him the next year.
Yeah. Then he brings in Mike Dunlap, who was an assistant college coach.
St. John's, yeah. Okay,
at St. John's, an assistant college coach, hires him to be a head coach in the NBA. Does 1 year, right?
Fires him.
Then does a few games of the second year and fires him? Come on. I mean, could he fire himself? Could he fire himself from at least drafting and hiring coaches?
Yeah, what he should do is, put himself in a higher position by delegating, someone to pick the choices for him. Yeah, he's going to find a way to phrase it in a way that, fills the ego because he's the shooter, So he wants to be making those picks. But, I think a lot of those, like when I see Jordan's picks, I wonder if he even really went to games or watched the players. I mean, just year after year after year of bad picks.
Do you guys remember when he picked that white kid from Gonzaga that couldn't play, Adam Morrison?
Adam Morrison. Couldn't even get off the bench.
And remember that?
Yeah, he had a lot of upside.
I'm trying to remember who they took Morrison over a few guys actually that ended up being pretty good.
Yeah, but he took Adam Morrison who couldn't play, and it was like, wasn't he the guy that would give himself injections during the game, Eric? Like,
he's diabetic. Yeah.
He's a diabetic.
Yeah, like, okay, all right, no problem with that. I'm not, my father used to have to take those injections, so I understand that. But I mean, can you find a guy with the 4th or 5th pick in the first round that you don't have any baggage with at all? Just
Well, he also had the baggage of being really slow.
Boy, he was slow.
That would be the baggage that would concern me. You're not going to create your own shot in the NBA.
Well, that goes to what he was just saying, that these teams that when they pick now, they're not picking on what's best for their team. They're picking on how this person may or may not become in 2-3 years down the line. They're picking down 3-4 years down the line instead of picking for what's good with their team right now. And as much as I can't stand San Antonio, that's what they do. They do a great job of picking players every year. And I mean, it's just the way the game is going now. I mean, even like you asked the question earlier, Coach, this one and done system in college basketball is horrible. And it's
horrible.
It's to me, it's not killing the college game, it's killing the professional game. It's hard for me to watch professional basketball now.
Yeah,
Coach, let me ask you this question, Coach. Who did you say were Celtics fans?
Right here.
I've got Scott and I've got Eric in studio. They're both big Celtics fans.
So Scott and Eric, look at this. The year that in the 06 draft.
Yep.
Right. That's when they took Adam Morrison.
Yep.
Number 3. The 2 picks before him were Andre Bargnani and LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMarcus Aldridge is playing phenomenal.
Right.
Yeah, he's an all-star.
Okay. So Boston at 21 was Rajon Rondo.
Yep. And Rondo was actually a guy that was projected as a top 10 pick, and then he just slid. I think it was the shooting.
Now you can argue that out of everyone, I'm looking at the first round of this draft right now. I just pulled up the draft in that year. And looking at everyone in that draft, Rondo probably is one of the top 3 people in that first round. I say the other 2 would be LaMarcus Aldridge and Rudy Gay.
Yeah, and really it's...
Brandon Roy was the best player until he got hurt.
Yeah, but you knew he'd get hurt.
But I'm going to say one thing. Of that group that Ernest just mentioned, Rondo's the only one who won a championship.
Yeah, but Rondo was a role player on that team.
That's it. Because Jordan Farmer won too, but he got drafted later on.
Well, no, but I mean the group you said of the top players.
Yeah.
But I don't count Jordan Farmer winning a championship because he had nothing to do with the Lakers winning at all. He had nothing to do with the Lakers winning. He had as much to do with the Lakers winning as Scott had to do with the Celtics being behind the Lakers still today. In one-loss record. Farmar was not even a role player. I mean, he wasn't even significant for the Lakers. I don't think he still is. I don't think he is significant now.
No.
But
now
Rondo's a stud now. Rondo, to me, and I know he can't shoot.
Rondo's been working on his shooting.
Rondo, to me, is one of the most dynamic point guards in the NBA. He is a great defensive player. He is a great passer, runs the team.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'd say LaMarcus Aldridge, though. If I was building a team...
He didn't win a championship, Rondo did. That was my point to Ernest.
Yeah. But he had 3 All-Stars that still had gas in the tank. And Aldridge has done a good job carrying a team. And
Ernest, of that first round that year, what other player other than Rondo won an NBA championship? Don't count Farmar. He doesn't count.
If you don't count Farmer, in the first round or overall period?
First round that year.
First round, let's see. Well, Shannon Brown. Shannon Brown. He was in it.
Shannon Brown doesn't count either, and I like Shannon. He was there when I was the year I was with the Lakers. Shannon had nothing to do. Shannon had nothing to do with them winning the championship. I mean, if Chris wants to correct me, fine. But I mean, Shannon and Farmer had nothing to do with the Lakers winning.
Adam Morrison was on the Lakers
team when they won.
Yeah. A champion.
Yeah, he was
a true champion.
But I mean, like he was just saying. They didn't have anything to do. I mean, I can't say they didn't have anything to do with it, but they were bit role players on a better team.
They weren't even role players.
Farmer was the backup point guard, so he saw significant.
No, I think he was third. Third point guard. But here's the thing. Is that Chris' point about this, the NBA is being ruined by these one and done guys. It's true. But the college game is not really being ruined because Kentucky can just go out and get more of these guys the next year.
Yeah.
But I just think there's something fundamentally wrong when I look at the top players. By definition, the top players are going to be up for the John R. Wooden Award. By definition. And so many of the top players are freshmen.
Oh.
And then sophomores. I mean, if you look at the projected NBA draft, Eric, how many seniors are projected and have a legitimate shot to be a first-round pick this year? How many seniors? You don't have to give names. Just how many?
Help me out,
less
Scott.
than 5.
Less than 5, Chris?
I say less than 3. And the reason why I say that is because in the NBA now, in today's game, if you're still a senior in college, you're considered a bust.
You're washed out. Eric, the one senior in my mind that can be, I'll go a step further too, Ernest. How many seniors not just could be considered a first-round pick, it could be considered a lottery pick? There's only one, and that's the coach's son at Creighton. He's the only one. What's his name, Ernest?
Doug McDermott. He was a finalist last year.
Right.
Yeah.
He's the only senior in the country that legitimately could be considered a lottery pick. Not sure that he will be. The only one that can be considered. Now, there's a few other seniors that are really good. UNLV got beat by one of them at home the other night, the guard from Nevada, Reno.
Deontay Burton.
Yes,
Yeah,
He played at Compton Centennial. He's from
Yeah.
LA.
Now, do you guys remember when I talked about Deontay Burton on the show a couple of weeks ago?
And you made me want to go see him, and I saw him a couple
And
times.
everybody told Coach Miller, oh, no, he's not very good. I was talking about him as a potential draft pick, and he is considered sort of a low first-round guy right now. Deontay Burton, Ernest, you're always so good with the names. He's one of your guys, right? He's up for the award, right?
Deontay, I think he was on our top 50 list. Yeah.
He should be. He's not. He beat UNLV single-handedly at UNLV the other night. Okay. Now, how about, Scott, the kid from Michigan State, 6'10", power forward? Ernest, you may have to help me with the name.
Adrian Payne.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Adrian,
boy, he's good,
I
isn't
think
he?
that's how you say his name, Adrian Payne.
Adrian Payne. He's a senior that you could look at if you're an NBA team.
But he'll probably go second round because he's still in
Don't forget
school.
about guards. If you go for guards, don't forget about Shabazz Napier.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to forget about him. I hadn't got to him yet, but I was going to go Shabazz Napier, and then if we're talking about guards, I'm going to talk about Markel Brown.
Markel Brown, yeah.
From Oklahoma State. But
Markel Brown, Oklahoma State.
Those are the only, what is that, 5? Those are the only seniors, Scott. And there's something fundamentally sad and wrong about it. And I'm going to be honest with you, because I knew Coach Wooden. And I talked to him several times, and Scott and Chris have both seen my Pyramid of Success in my office for years, signed by Coach Wooden to me, okay? And I think Coach Wooden would be
very disappointed.
Thank you, Chris. He'd be very disappointed that there's not more seniors and juniors, upperclassmen.
Let me ask you this question then. Do you think this is a trend?
Well, let me ask you a question. Are you saying he'd be disappointed off whether people are potentially ranked for being drafted, or you mean on the list for the award?
Neither. What I'm saying he'd be disappointed in is that the best players in college basketball are basically almost all freshmen.
Because until the day he died, he still wanted freshmen to be ineligible for the year.
Yeah. And a few sophomores. And regarding Eric's question, is it a trend? I think it's past being a trend.
Yeah.
I think it's now like...
It became the trend when high school players were no longer allowed to jump straight into
the NBA.
Well, it's a joke because they have it now where you have to be, you have to stay in college in 1 year, but it's like, all the proponents for that rule are like, have them stay for 2 years, have them stay for at least a couple years, and like a Marcus Smart, I could work on my game a little bit more, or become a better player.
Then you're telling people they don't have the right to earn a living.
Well, they do it in the NFL. You can't leave until after your third year, and
But
the college game is thriving.
Well, in football, you're looking for the safety of the kid.
Right.
You can't put an 18-year-old kid out there with a 29-year-old grown man that's 260 pounds and run him over.
But you could look at a kid like Jameson Winston. He can go play pro football right now. I mean, after one, I mean, he only has one more year left to go. Somebody like Brett Hundley probably could have played last year. I mean, the way these kids are built now, they're a little bit bigger, stronger, faster. Now, I can understand that back 20, 30 years ago, and the only person I saw that was really ready, who was like a freshman, was Herschel Walker, that was really ready to go straight from the pros. But, nowadays, these kids are a lot more bigger, faster, and stronger than they used to be. But, I mean, it's just, to me, it's just like, me and Coach have talked about it a couple times, and we were talking about it tonight. It's just killing the college game, and by contrast, is murdering the pro game. It's just, it's unwatchable.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Pro basketball's become really diluted, but thank God we've got the Clippers and the Celtics here still to entertain us. Ernest, I want to thank you for being a great call-in guest tonight.
No problem.
Awesome. We're going to have to keep on this John R. Wooden Award stuff. I'm just, like I said, I just think Coach Wooden would be disappointed with if he looked at college basketball and he saw that, the basically all of the top players are freshmen and sophomores, and particularly freshmen. I think he'd be real disappointed.
I think he would go to a smaller school. And, I think that's where he'd end up being a coach and teacher. You'd find a place where you would have players that would stay 4 years and not go for the hot shot recruits.
This is, I think, the conversation we had last time.
Yeah.
In regards to with so many one-and-done guys, it makes everyone claims they're mid-major. It makes the mid-major so much more attractive to a guy that's looking to go and stay for a few years, because they're going to be there 3-4 years, and that team's going to be strong. Like that's why Butlers and VCUs and all these guys that make these runs. I mean, even San Diego State, they're not really having one-and-done guys. Those guys are staying 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Coach Fisher's doing an amazing job down there with the team. He's really turned the program around. And that's what happens. You're going to get your Kentuckys, your Kansases, your Dukes that are going to get these super high-profile guys that are going to stay a year and go. But, they can easily get bumped out. Look at Georgetown last year losing to Florida Gulf Coast. Those guys have been together 3-4 years. They get out there and just ran them off the gym. You just never know what's going to happen. That's the exciting thing about college basketball.
Yeah.
Gets out there playing with a passion and not worried about the dollar like the NBA guys.
Now, that's a great point, Ernest. But, again, and Steve Fisher's an old friend of mine. They are doing a great job. But I just think it's a shame that the state of the game, how it's what it's become and what's happened to it. And but we appreciate you calling in. And, of course, we support the John R. Wooden Award and Wendy's, your sponsor. And you. We support you, too.
And I think I might have to make a trip to the east side of Pasadena next week to watch you guys play Bishop Amat.
Oh, yeah, we play them next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Next Wednesday we're playing. We just had a tough loss tonight to La Cañada. Coach had a 600 win against us tonight.
And he's been there forever.
The game ended. He's been there 28 years.
Yeah, he's been there forever.
Yeah, he's been there.
Coach Hoffman, he's a great coach. He does a good job. And, they shot 11 for 20 from the three-point line in the first half.
Well, that's a lot of threes. Let me tell you guys something. I coached against Tom Hoffman when I was at Blair High School.
34 years ago.
And is it 34 years?
No, I'm just making up big
When I was
numbers.
at Blair High School, I coached against Tom Hoffman. He wasn't yet the varsity coach at La Cañada High. He was the JV coach at La Cañada High.
Wow.
And by the way, I don't think we ever lost to him. Just food for thought.
You weren't one of those 600.
So he definitely didn't get any 600 on me, Coach. He didn't get any of those 600 on me.
Well, he got me once. That's the first one.
and it better be the last, because like I've told people, like I've publicly said, give Ernest a little time to build the program, and he'll do just fine. Those LaSalle Lancers will be just fine. I think next year at this time, they'll be just fine.
I appreciate it. Coach. I'm sure I'm gonna see you guys soon.
Yeah, I'll see you Wednesday. I'll be definitely at the game Wednesday.
Okay,
I'll see you then.
We
Cool.
appreciate it.
Nice talking with you again.
Okay.
Have a good weekend.
Hey, our phone number again is 1-800-893-9562. Andy, let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to have a special interview that Chris did with the Pasadena High School team and coach tonight. Was it tonight, Chris, at the game?
Yeah, they had a really shaky win tonight. It was 50-46. It was a really close game. It shouldn't have been that close.
Over Hoover High School.
Right.
So when we come back, we're going to have a Coach Tony Brooks being interviewed by Chris, and we're going to talk a little Clippers basketball with Eric, who's hanging out with us tonight, and we'll let Scott throw a few things in about the Celtics probably. But anyway, let's take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back to finish up our show. Hey, this is Coach Miller. I'm excited to tell you about my new instructional videos that are on DVDs, produced and distributed by Scoreboard Media out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Scoreboard Media is a great outfit. They also publish books on recruiting and basketball. But what I want to tell you about is to make sure you get a chance to see my post-play DVDs. If you want to become a better post player, score more in the post, and be more effective for your team, why not check out my DVDs? These great instructional videos will really help improve your game. Scoreboard Media is the place to get them at.
Welcome to the 500 Club. We the best, my whole team tough. Close to 100 Division Ones I built up. Dedication and hard work. Step up to the court, I'm like, who ready to lose first? 14 times champs every year earned. Feet to the court, let me get in my zone. Hands grip to the ball, let me get in control. Non-stop, can't quit, that's the winner's quote. I'ma just keep doing me, hear the crowd as they cheer. 18 out of 19, coach of the year. Time out with Coach Miller, listen clear. 2 times a week, listen to me on the ear. Over 30 wins, it was for 4 straight years. First to win state my high school and college career. Over 30 wins, it was for 4 straight years. First to win state my high school and college career.
This is Coach Miller from Time Out with Coach Miller. I'm here excited to tell you about Medicus Graphics Center located in Los Angeles, California. Medicus is the official printer and graphic designer of Time Out with Coach Miller. Medicus does a tremendous job for any printing need from big to small. Whether you want to print a book or a 4-color poster or business cards, go see my friends at Medicus Graphics Center in Los Angeles, California, located at 2030 Hyperion Avenue. Tell them Coach Miller sent you. Medicus will take care of you like they've taken care of me.
State champs, high school and JC. He was the first coach to do it in California history. Coach Miller, he can beat any team. Got shooters on the court and dunkers dunk everything. He got to win, so the plan is defeat. Been coaching on the court before he turned 18. From 08, going down to 93, he was the conference champs, home of the LACC. Youngest coach to beat 500 teams, 43. Everybody can't do it like he. A coach is something he was destined to be. Now we got a radio show to discuss some things, talking informative conversations. Listen to the real. Tuesday and Friday at night from 10 to 12. A live show, tune in and listen well. Special guests and take audience calls as well.
Hey, we're back. We're live. Welcome back to Time Out with Coach Miller. We're excited to be back at Skidrow Studios, which is sort of jewelry district adjacent.
I think it's actually the Rat District. You remember when we were in the parking lot last Friday night? Yeah, there were a lot of rats.
Yeah,
in
we
that
saw
parking lot.
like 8 or 10 of them down there,
Yeah,
Chris. They were in some big
fun.
boys on it.
That's like a housing project for
Glad I missed
rats.
that.
Yeah. No, it wasn't a happy thing to see. Hey,
Although the rats were happy.
the rats were
They
happy.
were playing, tumbling.
Well, hey, yeah, they were having a good time chasing
They were.
each other.
I think they were creating new rats.
Yeah, I think they might have been. They were being pretty frisky and playful. So
It's like a barn dance.
well,
Gotta see this tonight.
yeah, at least they were having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So, hey, we're glad to be back. Chris has a special feature for us tonight. He interviewed Coach Tony Brooks at Pasadena High School after their game with Hoover. Was the game at Hoover or
It was
Pasadena?
at Hoover High School. And
Wow.
that is a hard place to play at.
Hard place to play at. When I was at Blair, we played there a few times, and I remember it well. The purple and white, the Tornadoes. They have
Yeah.
a great nickname, Eric. They're the Hoover High School Tornadoes.
Nice.
And they've got this like whirling dervish tornado painted on the wall. At least they used to 30 years ago. It was purple and white. Is it still there, Chris?
It's still there.
Well, something hasn't changed. That's good, at least. Okay, Chris, tell us what you got.
Yeah, I wanted. There was a game I wanted to see earlier this week, and I didn't get a chance to go. So I was just sitting around thinking I need to go see a game tonight. So I looked up the schedule. Pasadena's playing at Hoover, so let me go see that game because we've had Coach Tony Brooks and the Pasadena Bulldogs on the show.
Right.
And so while I was there, I was thinking, well, you know what? I have my iPhone. I could plug for iPhone. I could see if I could interview the coach after to see how it would turn out. And I think it turned out pretty good. So I think I'm going to start doing this, trying to catch 1 or 2 games a week and doing interviews with the coaches afterwards. So
I think
this
that's
will be
smart.
the first one.
So you've set this thing up for us. So Pasadena High School just beat Hoover by 4
50-46.
At-
Hard-fought game
at Hoover.
at Hoover.
Okay, go ahead. Let's roll the tape.
I'm standing here tonight with Coach Tony Brooks of the Pasadena High School Bulldogs after their hard-fought 50-46 victory over the Hoover Tornadoes. Coach Brooks, tell me about the game tonight.
Yes, it was a lot closer than we wanted it to be. Hoover fought really hard. You know, they've got a couple of players that have the savvy of getting to the basket pretty well. And we're still trying to figure out what kind of team we want to be. It takes hard work to come onto somebody else's floor and beat them when they're feeling good about themselves.
Right.
They've won like 10, 11 games at this point, so they know how to win, and they're going to fight all the way. We're still trying to figure ourselves out. We're 4 guys playing on one page, 1 guy still not right there, not there yet. And that maturation takes a little time. We've made a lot of leaps and bounds. We've improved on it. Tonight it kind of reared its ugly head again.
Right. It seemed like you guys were playing, for a while there, it seemed like you guys are playing not to lose instead of to win.
Exactly. And, we told them tonight we had to be aggressive and we needed to attack the rim. We responded by shooting a lot of jumpers. And when you're on somebody else's floor, you've got to get to the rim. There's plenty of opportunities for us to do that, but we're not doing that. We would settle for a 15-footer, 18-footer, and tonight we were cold. A lot of times we make those. In practice and other games, we've made those shots. But, when it's not working that way, you got to play smart and you got to attack the rim and make it an easier game for yourself.
Do you think the refs took some of your players out of the game?
That's expected. I tell the kids, when you're on the road, you're down 7 when you get off the bus. So you've got to fight through that. The refs should not have a bearing on the game unless you let them have a bearing on the game. And, if you're playing like a victim and you're not attacking and you're not running your stuff and executing in a proper manner, then the refs can make a factor or be a factor in that game. But I didn't think they were. I thought they were fair, and I thought they did a good job. I have no complaints.
Would you let your kids know at the end of the game?
I just told them, I said, we can't get out of our own way. We get up by 10, 11 points, and then we do different things, and high school kids, high school boys sometimes think they know better, and it's the discipline. It's my job to get them to understand the team concept and what's effective and what's going to work. And when they do those things, I glorify it, and you would expect them to continue, but sometimes you get a group that kind of fights you and wants to do it their way. So we're still working, and we'll get back to practice, get back to work in the morning.
Where do you see your team going from here? You guys is just this year second Pacific League game. You guys are 2-0 right now. Where do you guys see yourselves going from here?
Well, right now we have 3 tough games next week. We're on the road 2 out of 3 games. We start off on Monday and then right back Wednesday. So we've got to, I told the kids I wasn't going to beat them up. It's not a point of beat them up. We just got to get better. It's just a matter of learning the game and playing the right way. You can't just play any kind of way and expect to be successful because that's a nice little example of what the playoffs feel like, And it's loud, it's boisterous, the team is feeling good about themselves, and they're constantly fighting. And you got to rely on each other to get through that. So where do we see ourselves? We're going to take one game at a time. I know that's a cliche, but that's a very important thing, that not to look ahead and to take on the task in front of us and be ready and prepared. That's my job. I'm going to prepare them so that they're ready for Monday's game, and then we'll just take the next one and the next one.
Okay, well, good luck to you guys for the rest of the season, and we hope to see you guys again heading out through the Pacific League and getting into the playoffs.
Okay, thank you very much. Tell Coach Mike I said hi.
No problem. All right.
Nice. Well, Chris, that's a great interview, and you're right. That's something that would be of value to do a couple times a week if you're out and about. That's really nice. So
yeah, I really enjoyed that. I got a chance to talk to Coach Brooks beforehand, and I told him I wanted to interview him after the game and possibly maybe one of the players. But with the way that game went tonight, I don't think he wanted one of the players to come on.
Yeah, maybe not. It's funny. We run into some of the good guys like Coach Brooks, and I ran into Marlon Morton tonight from Westchester. He came to our game, and sometimes you run into those good guys by accident, and it's great to see them. So I'm glad that you ran into one, and I ran into one tonight too, Chris. Hey, let's talk a little bit about the NBA now to close out our show. Hey, Eric, tell us about the Clippers. You've been really the one following them, and you're doing, you've been working on your blog a little bit and stuff. So tell us, Chris Paul's out.
Yeah.
So, where do they go from here?
Well, they've had the injury bug just like most teams this year. You just had J.J. Redick come back tonight. He had a solid performance. He had 17 points in the first half.
That's great.
His first game back. So he had his cardio. He kept on talking about when he was rehabbing just this past week about how his conditioning was coming along. Mm. And even though he couldn't get the dexterity back in his wrist and thumb, he kept in shape so that when he came back, he could get the minutes in. So, he had a good game tonight, and I think that now that Paul's out, Collison's stepped up. See, a lot of people don't realize that Collison can actually be a number one in almost most teams in the East. He could be a number one. And he's got a great penetration move, first step, gets to the rim, and he distributes. So I think that they've got a solid backcourt, and there's no holes in that backcourt.
Yeah, it's got to expose their depth, though. Collison's a great backup. He's a good starting point guard. But then, once you take him out of the bench, it's got to be pretty thin.
Yeah, Collison, you got, behind, you got Dudley. You don't have Dudley. He's a 3. But you got Collison, you've got Redick. And it's pretty much it without Paul.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you get a little thin after that. But Collison tonight even had 3 3-pointers.
Yeah.
So he can even shoot the 3. A lot of people don't even give him credit for a three ball, but he can spot up and knock that down.
I really like Darren Collison. I've always liked him. Always thought he was underrated. He's done well, Chris, on every team he's played on.
Yeah.
And
from Etiwanda to UCLA to Indiana when he first came into the league.
He was a borderline all-star.
I think he's good.
Yeah.
And I must say, he's a close family friend.
Okay, well.
Is he?
Yeah, my mom and his parents are good friends.
Let me ask this question. And, Coach Miller is not afraid to go out on a limb. Scott never have been. Are they better? Forget about the lack of depth. Scott brought that up. Are they better off, though, with Darren Collison over Chris Paul in the starting lineup?
Absolutely not.
You didn't even give a chance to finish the question.
Chris Paul with a separated shoulder? Yeah, probably.
Well, I think I know where you're going with this, and I'm gonna say for right now, it's good for them because he's getting minutes that he probably normally wouldn't be able to get, and it's going to help him in the long run.
But I'm going somewhere else with it. It gives more shots to your
Blake
other
Griffin,
players,
DeAndre
to
Jordan.
Jamal Crawford,
I'm going to give the question
to J.J. Redick, to your guy Blake Griffin. You get more shots for them when Darren Collison is the starter.
Well, I mean, Chris Paul is the best point guard in the NBA. I mean, he's better than Rajon Rondo. And he's led the league in assists like 3 times now. So, I mean, you're not going to be better with someone other than the best. And I think the real comparison would be, would the Clippers be better if they had Eric Bledsoe still leading the team instead of Collison?
I think with Redick, I don't think they miss a beat. I think because Redick got hurt when he did, and then Paul went out, they still haven't had a full, long continuum where you could see how they're going to play together going into the postseason. But I think that next to Portland, I feel like this is the best backcourt in the NBA. Like, I really, like, looking at their statistics alone, I mean, they shoot the 3-ball just as well as anybody.
The best backcourt in the NBA?
Next to who?
Well, I think he's counting Doc
Golden
Rivers.
State's got Klay Thompson's a 3, though.
Well, he's considered the shooting guard. 2 and 3.
But if you factor in Doc Rivers as the third point guard,
then definitely
they get pretty good.
The Clippers, yeah.
Because Doc stayed in shape.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the question for the Clippers, I think, is honestly, again, like it was last year, is Griffin going to be enough with DeAndre Jordan offensively in the postseason? Are they going to be able to pound the boards and still get enough, good open looks at the rim when, they were taken out of the postseason by Memphis because they got out-muscled?
Yeah.
And is that going to happen again? Maybe not.
I think the big question for those guys is when are either of them going to develop a shot 4 feet beyond 4 feet of the rim? And if they do that, that'll, make the Clippers a better team. I mean, Chris Paul can do a lot, but your star players, or at least your secondary star players, they have to continue to improve their game. And if they don't, then it's going to impede the effectiveness of your star player. Or what'll happen is he'll just start throwing the ball to players who are improving their game because and they both play so close to the net, that to the rim. I mean, they have to improve their game. I mean, it's like with Jordan. He improved his game every year, but so did Pippen. Tim Duncan improves his game, but so did Tony Parker. So does Manu Ginobili. They add elements to their game.
No question.
Even Rajon Rondo, out with the torn ACL, he's been working on his release. So now we're going to see him shooting 75% at the free throw line. If he can do that consistently, that benefits the Celtics. If he can hit the short jumpers or all of a sudden has a corner 3, that's going to help the Celtics. And that's going to help the team. But it's because you're adding to your game.
Chris, do you notice what Scott just did? We're talking about the Clippers, and somehow he got this onto it's going to help the Celtics and helping the Celtics. And not just once, not a little slip of the tongue, but like he's just had like a paragraph on helping the Celtics. How did we go from talking about the Clippers, our local team, which is kind of Skid Row adjacent, to the Celtics so fast?
You know what? How about we open it up to...
It's because we have the
Lakers
blogger who's secretly a Celtic fan.
Yeah, it's my heart's still in the East.
Yeah, he's got the accent.
Does Eric have a Boston accent, Scott?
A lot more than I do.
Good point.
I think my family has the accent. It's passed down a little bit. But
nice. Well, Scott's been here off and on for 15 years, too.
15, 50.
Yeah.
Same thing.
1-800-893-9562 is our number. Call in if you like. So, Eric, let's get back to the Clippers. Now, in your mind, what has Jared Dudley done for this team this year?
I don't think he's the X factor for them. He admittedly said he was playing like garbage until about 10 games ago.
Right.
He said he wasn't playing well. And then he came out, he had like 4 or 5 games where he hit like 50% from the three. I honestly didn't know he could shoot anything other than a three. He played Boston the other night, and he actually, against the Celtics, he hit like a couple pull-up jumpers.
Oh, nice.
I was like shocked. I didn't know he could do that.
One step closer to Jabari Parker.
Yeah. And he buried them. And I don't think he missed from beyond the arc then either. But, I don't think he's really done much. I'm actually kind of more disappointed with Anton Jameson. Like, I know, he didn't do much for the Lakers either, but I thought it was because they didn't play him enough. But
no, he's over the hill.
His minutes, he's done nothing. So
he's worn out.
Yeah.
He's got too much miles on his legs.
I guess so. I thought he could at least score a little bit, but
he's been in the league for about 15, 16 years now, which is crazy because it seemed like just yesterday him and Vince Carter were coming out.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah. So it was like yesterday that he was playing alongside LeBron.
He was a great college player.
Finals.
Jameson.
Yeah.
Like Jameson, I think, was probably the better college player.
Yeah. So who is it? I was going to ask. Do you have contacts, anybody that you know with the Clippers?
Well, we know a few people, but we'll see.
Okay. I was just curious.
I'm not going to go out on a limb on that one.
All right.
Because I don't know where you're going with that, Eric. So I'm not going to. That's just
I just want to know, as I just trashed Jared Dudley, who's going to be hunting my head now?
Well, I think that Jared Dudley, if he's making his shots, Chris, he had a pretty good little run with the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
If he's making his shots, I think he can be a real X factor for the Clippers. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
But he's never evolved his game since he was at, he was a spot-up shooter when he was at Phoenix. He never really developed any other shot but that,
doesn't really drive.
Defense. Yeah, and now he's like 5 years older from that time, 5-6 years older. So it's just like, he's the player he's going to be. You know what I mean? He's going to hit a couple shots for you. He's going to miss a couple shots for you. And, you want to get him in the game and hopefully he hits a couple and then get him right back out.
What about Jamal Crawford, you guys? Any thoughts on his contribution?
The best handles in the league.
Crosser's ridiculous.
Yeah. And, I still like him. He's bounced around from team to team, and I hated that he's with the Clippers, but, that was a good pickup for them a couple years ago.
Do you look at him, though, as just like a guy who's instant offense?
That's always been his tab. No defense. Shoots a lot, makes a lot of passes, but no defense.
Okay, so here's my question. I'm going to get you guys on the spot on here. I'm going to make you pick. And Jamal Crawford or Nick Young? Scott, you go first.
Well, what's the salary cap situation?
Forget about that.
If you're just going player for player, I'd say Jamal Crawford because Nick Young's worthless. But if you're going salary for salary, it depends on what your needs are for the team. Because I'm sure that Crawford's at least $5 or $6 million a year, and Nick Young's probably $600,000.
Chris.
I can't have a basketball conversation with him because he's so biased. You know what I mean?
How much is Nick Young making?
No, you just off the bat, he's garbage. Anybody from the Lakers is garbage. Kobe's washed up. You have a Laker bias.
Washed up.
So anyway.
I used to like Kobe.
Anyway.
I'd put him on the Hall of Fame on his first ballot.
Out of the two,
who do you take?
With their contribution to the team right now, with their contribution to the team right now, I would have to take Swaggy. I would have. He's really the Lakers' whole offense right now.
The whole offense of that team that's given up over 100 points in 10 out of the last 12 games?
That scored 8 points in the third quarter against the Clippers.
Wow, so he got, 6 points? that big quarter.
Eric, what do you have for me on that? I'm going to let you pick. You can either have Nick Young
or Jordan Crawford, the other streaky, worthless.
I'm
not real.
It's
guard.
my show, and I'm making the rules. You get to pick.
Everybody's worthless.
He's worth more than Nick Young.
Scott, time out. It's my show. I'm making the rules. You must pick between Jamal Crawford and Nick Young. You do not get to bring in other players to pick from. Who do you pick, Eric?
Nick Young.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow.
Why? Because he's younger? The haircut?
I think he's got more dimensions.
It's a money move.
Defensively, too.
They're shedding $6 million of salary by cutting.
Let me tell you about
Crawford with Nick Young.
Did you see him against Utah?
Yeah.
He scored 9 points in 2 minutes. I mean, not that Crawford has never done that, but Nick Young is just exciting. He'll pick your pocket when you least expect it. He rebounds. Obviously, he's a great defender, too.
He ever put up 40 points in a game?
He will. Soon enough.
Against a team over 500?
Hey, Scott, he'll put up 40 shots in a game, though.
So will Crawford.
Crawford's amazing.
Yeah, I love his handles. I love his handles. He has, a serviceable outside shot. If you leave him out there, he can't knock that down. But like you said, I think Nick Young has a little bit more dimensions to his game. He can get to the basket whenever he wants, pretty much. He can finish around the rim where, for Crawford, it's a little effort around the rim area. He can post you. Nick Young kind of post you up a little bit more. So I think just overall game, forget both of them don't play defense. So I'm not even going to go there with
and
defense.
Both of them can score points, and that's why I brought up the comparison. You guys have all had your piece. I can agree with the different perspectives. Me personally, I'm going to take Jamal Crawford over Nick Young every day of the week.
Yep.
Because I don't think Nick Young cares about defense. Not sure Jamal Crawford cares a lot about it, but I think he cares about it more than Nick Young. So for me, I'm going to pick Jamal Crawford. But it's been a good topic to bring up and discuss, and we've got to do this again, you guys. This has been fun. It's great to be back in the studio with you, Scott, with you, Chris.
Did you want me to tell you about that tournament, that showcase tomorrow?
Real quick, because we're going to close this thing out.
Okay, we got a really big showcase out in Cerritos College tomorrow. One of our past former guests of Westchester High School will play Sacramento Sheldon in the feature game at 8:30, and Coach Ed Azam is going for his 804th win, which will put him past Willie West from Crenshaw.
Wow!
As the all-time winningest coach in the city section history.
Wow!
It's an all-day event tomorrow. Starts at 10 o'clock with Renaissance and Linwood. Saddleback Valley Christian at Lockhite versus Locke at 11:30. Mayfair versus John Muir at 1 p.m. Lawndale versus Rolling Hills Prep at 2:30. Gardena Sarah at Peninsula versus Peninsula at 4. Las Vegas Clark versus St. Anthony at 5:30. Cantwell Sacred Heart versus Sunny Slope from Arizona at 7. And again, the feature game will be Westchester versus Sacramento Sheldon at 8:30.
That's going to be a great event. I'm going to try to attend that, Chris. We have a game tomorrow at 1:30 in Carson, and I'll be done by 3:30. And Carson's close enough to Cerritos. Maybe I'll grab some Wendy's, some healthy fast food, the drive-through, and head over to Cerritos College and
put a plug in for the chili.
The chili's great, Eric. And if any of you guys want to go to see those games tomorrow with Coach Miller, let me know. Hey, Andy, thanks for doing a great job in the sound booth. Andy, take us home. Put the song on. Here it is.
16 made a dream with this basketball. Coach Miller on the court, and we going hard. Pass the rock to the paint. I give it my all, or be like Chris Paul, shoot the 3-point, y'all. Look, it's time out with Coach Miller. 14 straight conference championships, we winners. It don't stop from the bottom to the ceiling, cause all I know is win and we winning. Full focus, we got a topic to discuss. High school, prep school, small colleges, yup. Another special guest today, listen up. It might get a little hectic from the stuff we discuss. Welcome to the 500 Club. We the best, my whole team tough. Close to 100 Division Ones I built up. Dedication and hard work. Step up to the court, I'm like, who ready to lose first? 14 times champs every year earned. Feet to the court, let me get in my zone. Hands grip to the ball, let me get in control. Non-stop, can't quit, that's a winner's quote. I'ma just keep doing me, hear the crowd as they cheer. 18 out of 19, coach of the year. Time out with Coach Miller, listen clear. 2 times a week, listen to me on the ear. Over 30 wins, it was for 4 straight years. First to win state my high school and college career. Over 30 wins, it was for 4 straight years. First to win state my high school and college career. It's time out with Coach Miller. 14 straight conference championships, we winners. It don't stop from the bottom to the ceiling, cause all I know is win and we winning. Full focus, we got a topic to discuss. High school, prep school, small colleges, yup. Another special guest today, listen up. It might get a little hectic from the stuff we discuss. State champs, high school and JC. He was the first coach to do it in California history. Coach Miller, he can beat any team. Got shooters on the court and dunkers dunk everything. He got to win, so the plan is defeat. Been coaching on the court before he turned 18. From 08, going down to 93, he was the conference champs, home of the LACC. Youngest coach to beat 500 teams, 43. Everybody can't do it like he. A coach is something he was destined to be. Now we got a radio show to discuss some things, talking informative conversations. Listen to the real. Tuesday and Friday at night from 10 to 12. A live show, tune in and listen well. Special guests and take audience calls as well.